Hey, Elderly Warriors. This is a tip for anyone that's currently working with a lawyer and wants to make sure they don't get in their own way in the result they're seeking to get. I run into this problem a lot with people calling me about their lawyers, complaining about their lawyers. And in this video, I'm going to cover how our talk usually goes and what some of my best tips are for how you should think about that attorney-client relationship, what actual real warning signs are you should worry about, and how you can best help your lawyer help you. So if you're interested in this area of the law, stay tuned. This is the video for you. My name is Attorney Lance Fryrear. I'm a defense attorney in Linwood, Washington. My law firm's been defending people charged with crimes all throughout Washington State for more than 20 years, and I'm putting out these videos to help educate the public. So if you find this useful, please like and please subscribe. More people get the help they need. Now I'm just going to jump right into it. As you can probably tell, none of my videos are scripted, even one word. I just sort of talk from my experience, and I'm relying on my experience right now. I recently had somebody come into the office, a very thoughtful person who had some concerns about their lawyer. And there's lots of times that we hear from people that have concerns about the lawyer they're working with, not in my law firm, some other law firm. And in this, I thought I would cover some of the things that I was able to explain and have explained to others about why sort of micromanaging a lawyer or being too involved in telling a lawyer what you want, especially in a criminal defense case, can eventually backfire and harm your relationship with the lawyer, and even worse, harm the outcome in your case. Let me give you some examples of sort of how it is that most criminal defense attorneys work if we're talking at a non-felony level. Right? Most criminal defense attorneys, the most effective ones, are going to try to use their own methods and their own style to hopefully negotiate a result with very little risk for the client that turns into a good result for the client, such as a dismissal, a continuance for a dismissal called an SOC, reductions in charges. And the problem with many clients out there is all they know about defense work is what they've seen on TV, right? They've watched court TV, they've watched major felony trials, maybe O.J. Simpson a long time ago, all the murder shows that we see on YouTube and other places. And for those high-level felonies, those very fine, detailed facts can be very important, and that can be what moves a case. But in the real criminal defense world, where the majority of cases are non-felonies, they're a DUI, they're an assault, they're an order violation, they're a theft case. What really leads to a result in the case typically is not those fine details, right? It's typically whatever that attorney does with their style, with their relationships, with the credibility they've built over time, to make it easier for the prosecutor, who is overwhelmed with cases and have totally different motivations than what the public might think. What the prosecutor needs to do to be able to get rid of that case in a way the prosecutor feels good about, while also doing something that the defendant and the defense attorney feels good about. And hopefully that's dismissing a case. And if you've watched my videos, you understand it usually involves the client doing some type of affirmative actions, some time passing, and then the defense attorney typically, hopefully, will whisper about the defenses in the case, because if we approach many negotiations too strongly, we can create what I would call an oppositional reflex in the prosecutor, because the prosecutor has a hard job, right? I was a prosecutor for 7 years. All the pressure in the world is on the prosecutor, right? Everyone's mad at the prosecutor if you're too lenient. Everyone's mad at the prosecutor if they're too strict, right? You've got every single case in the courtroom. And so it's a fairly thankless job. It may not even be the highest paid job in the world. Sometimes it is. And therefore, what we don't want to do is take an approach that asks the prosecutor to do a whole bunch of work that they're just not going to do. So what do you mean, Lance? Well, let's say you've got a case and you are really wondering why your attorney hasn't sent a detailed explanation of every fact of the case, right? This time is important, and this video is important, and all this is important to the client. And you're pressuring your attorney to do that. Well, a good attorney probably knows that there's a time and a place, if ever, that we want to use that type of aggressive approach with a prosecutor at the non-felony level, right? There's a time and a place. And that time and the place is going to differ and vary based upon what they know as the experienced people about how that particular prosecutor works. Prosecutors aren't all the same. Some prosecutors are looking for classes and ways that a defendant has improved themselves. Some prosecutors are rigidly following a guideline and are afraid to do anything, right? Some prosecutors have a really big bark to start with, but in the long run, they sort of mellow out and be reasonable. So what you don't want to be doing is wasting your money by not relying on the expertise of your lawyer in knowing how your particular prosecutor, how your particular fact pattern, how your particular criminal history plays out in a negotiation with the government, okay? So if you've chosen a good attorney, and most people will choose a highly rated attorney, and you interviewed attorneys and you hired an attorney, here's what I want you to do. Please trust the attorney, right? The more you pressure your attorney to do things how you think that should be done, the more you're running the risk that they finally give in to you, because us attorneys are customer service people. We're doing criminal work to save people. We're not going to get rich off of criminal defense work, right? It's a flat rate business. It's a business of love, so to speak, trying to help people. And we only have, as an attorney, so much energy, life force, emotional energy, whatever we might want to call it, to put into any particular moment, to any particular day, to any particular case. So if we know it's best to not do it how you want to do it, and you keep beating on us to do it how you want to do it because you're anxious and you're nervous and you've seen certain things on TV and you think you know, the worst thing that can happen is we give in to you. We give in to you, we start to do it how you want, which may not be our style, which may be different than what we think will work with the prosecutor. But finally, we might just get fed up and we're tired of fighting you, right? So do yourself a favor, trust your attorney, since you went to a lot of trouble to figure out which attorney to hire. So that's number one. Trust your attorney. They know what they're doing. That's why you hired them. What's number two? What are the warning signs, right? When maybe we shouldn't trust the attorney, right? What are the warning signs? Where's the line, Lance? I don't want to totally abdicate as the client and just put my whole life in their hands because they've got a million cases, right? They don't care about me. All these things is what might be going through your head. And the better attorneys are probably going to have more cases because there's more demand for the better attorneys, right? Even my law firm is having to limit how many cases we take because there's more demand for our services at times than we can comfortably have capacity for. So I think a warning sign is if a really lack of response from your attorney for a period of time. Now, if you've been peppering them with emails, 3, 4, 5 emails in a week, they may eventually just quit responding because, they're flabbergasted and they've had enough. But, if there's, no response from an attorney, don't assume the worst. Just, give them another shot. If they're not responding by email, give them a call, right? If they're not responding by a call, give them a text. But you can help your attorney help you by reminding them that you exist, right? That happens in all offices, including my office, right? I get people that will call us up and say, I'm sorry to bother you, Lance, but I was wondering what was going on in my case. And constantly our response will be, thank you. You're not bothering us. You're actually helping us help you. Here's what we know about your case. And here's sort of the game plan. Here's how it's changed. Here's how it has not. So that's one warning sign. If you've heard absolutely nothing and they're not responding, then, it's different. Telling them how to do the job is different than asking them to do the job, right? And ask for an explanation if it's taking longer than you think. The attorney may not just have done a good enough job explaining how long cases take. I just dealt with that in my own office, right? One of my attorneys had spoken to one of our clients, and apparently didn't do the most effective job of explaining how long cases take. And the client was a little bit discouraged by the fact the case was going to be continued to another court date. And that was on us, about our inability, apparently, for that client to communicate how long it's going to take. And so, but talking about it, everything's better in the long run. Here's how things work. So I think another warning sign you have to worry about with your attorney is if they simply don't seem like they know what's going on at all, right? They're late for your court. They're talking about facts that don't involve your case. There's some sign that the attorney is overwhelmed professionally or personally, right? That would be something that I would worry about, because that can happen because attorneys are just people also. So those are the two main things I'd be worried about. What I don't want to worry about is, it seems like they're friendly to the prosecutor. I hear that sometimes, people calling up. If your attorney is liked by the prosecutor, that's a good thing, right? Prosecutors have power. When I was a prosecutor, if there's some attorneys I didn't like, they probably didn't get quite as favorable treatment, right? As if there is an attorney that I found more respected and more believable and more trustworthy, because again, prosecutors are just people, just like the defense attorneys are. So those are some of the warning signs and some non-warning signs. So the third thing I promised you here is how you can help your attorney help you. And I think the really most important way you can help is not what you think. It's not get them all the facts and get them the fact pattern, and that's all true. But remember how I started out talking here, is that it's hard being an attorney trying to fight the government in a way that avoids a trial, hopefully avoids risk for you. There's a lot of doubt. Even the best attorneys have doubt because we don't know what the right answer is. We have ideas, what might work. But anytime that you can show faith in your attorney with a very clear and succinct, short statement, I think that's helpful to encourage us to feel appreciated by our clients. And if we feel appreciated by our client, just human nature, we're going to fight harder, right? I always say that whatever attorney wants the result bad enough can probably get the result most of the time. But if you have a clear support for your attorney, I think that's helpful. What might that sound like? Thank you for listening to me. I have total faith in you. Whatever steps you want me to take, I'm going to take. Or I trust your judgment. You do what you think is best in negotiating with the prosecutor, right? Those type of things. So it's okay to express your concerns. It's okay to express your wishes and your wants. It's really okay to express your frustrations if you have them, because that's going to help let the relationship, clear up and get closer, because it's a personal relationship. Even if it's professional, it's personal because we know so many things about your life and we're fighting for your life. So the best way to help is to show that attorney that you have faith in them, because we have faith in us, but sometimes even our own faith gets shaken in the system, in unfair rulings or unfair prosecutors, in our opinion, who just don't see it our way and they don't get to know you like we do. So we want you, hopefully, to help your attorney by doing what they tell you to do, but also by exercising some emotional intelligence and realizing, hopefully, it's a two-way street. We're primarily there to support you. But if you have the opportunity to have a statement of support, for me, it makes all the difference in the world. I remember years ago, I had a very important client. They're all important, but this one was particularly, I remember I met this client and got this client out of jail, and the client was crying and all these things. And I remember she told me something along the lines, and I still can feel it today. It's like, Lance, I have every bit of faith in you. I have every bit of faith that you're going to get this done. And how I felt that Saturday when I remember years ago, I heard that voice on the phone tell me that, I was ready to fight even harder. I remember that case. I think I showed up at the prosecutor's office at 7 a.m. to talk to the prosecutor before court, face to face, an hour and a half drive away. And that case got dismissed. Not saying it wouldn't have, but that client did a really good job helping me help them by the support and the faith they showed in me. And even the best attorney needs that, okay? Because it's a lonely place being the defendant, and it's lonely as well being one of the only people that can help the defendant fight for fairness and getting their life back against the government. So that's what I have to say. I hope you found this helpful. If so, please like and please subscribe because more people actually get to see it. And more importantly, if you have a legal problem, a criminal issue in Washington State, and you need some help, feel free to give my office a call. We get on board, we'll listen to what happened, we'll identify a way forward, and we will be there for you. Thank you.